said that it doesn't seem to make any difference. Did you try that 6C4 tube? Try swapping the tubes and then using the microphone, and then swap the tubes and use your Shure mixer insert, because they are going into two different places in the circuit. And I'm wondering what the difference is when you switch the tubes around, whether you're feeding the microphone audio in or feeding the phone patch input with audio.
I didn't get a chance to, because something weird happened with the, now all of a sudden the microphone's bouncing off the charts here. I can't figure this out. It seems to be quite intermittent, but I'm on the D104 and it's showing a lot of modulation. I might have to turn the audio down a bit here. And I just flipped over to the Shure side, and I wasn't getting any audio at all, so I don't know what the heck. Good evening, Craig. Man, you're really full quieting in here. You sound great.
Yeah, okay, Kevin. Long time. I'm not going to stay. I got to make dinner. Michelle, that was my phone call. Michelle's on her way home, so it's spaghetti with shrimp and clam sauce tonight. But good to hear you. Sounds good to me, buddy. I don't know what you've done, or I don't even think, I don't know. I'm not looking at a scope or anything, but it sounds like it was good modulation to me, but I'm still a kid, pal. Good to hear you, Kevin and Clark. I'm going to get out of here. I'll jump in here later, but good to hear you guys. And it sounds good to me, pal. Whiskey Zulu 8 Japan and N1 BCG. This is KB3RHR off to make dinner.
All right, have a good evening.
7-3's Craig. Good to hear you, sir. Yeah, Clark, here's a phenomenon that's probably something you would expect, but if I leave the microphone that goes into the phone patch jack connected with the D104 on, sometimes the D104 doesn't want to work. And if I unplug the microphone out of the phone patch jack, then the D104 will work. And the phone patch jack seems to work no matter what, so I can use the D104 as sort of a push-to-talk switch to talk into the other mic. So I don't know if that's any information that's useful or just more confusion.
Did we move that? I am having trouble remembering the specifics on that, but there, you had the I know there was an audio coax that was moved at one point, and I think I said, oh yeah, don't hook it up there, hook it up somewhere else, and it'll be much better. Did we do that? So you've got the phono jack on the back, the RCA jack for the phone patch input, and then that goes to a audio coax, and then the other end of that goes where it originally did, or somewhere else?
Well, no, but I'll say this very quietly. Jim told me to put it on top of the audio jack, the audio pot, so that's where it went. And I never did move it, so that's where it is. It's on the top of the audio pot, Clark.
Okay, that's why it kills the D104, because what's happening is that is a very, very, very high impedance circuit normally. So if you have a D104 plugged in to the normal jack and you don't have anything plugged into the the phone patch input, then that ends up being I think over 1,000,000 ohms due to the volume control, the mic control jack. If you plug in a Shure mic mixer with a very low impedance output, it'll load it down completely. What I think is a good idea, although obviously it's not going there now, I would move that to the cathode. Is that right? The cathode of the 6C4, and you would bypass a lot of the audio chain on that Valiant and get a lot better audio out of it. So, but it's up to you. But I found that there's a lot of audio frequency response which gets limited, by those early stages there. and then that requires very little modding. So, or you could just take some clip leads and try it, but that would be something to give a shot to. But yes, if you leave that mic mixer plugged into that jack, that will probably kill your D104. And 1BCG.
KC2DHU.
W2DHU recognized. Hopefully you can hear me. WZAJ Kevin here in northern Ohio, and of course, Clark. Yeah, Clark. I can confirm that it kills the D104. That is a Roger. And yeah, I should move that over. Yeah, it's. I didn't really want it this way. And the other thing is what? I can't remember. There was something about having the mic plugged in. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. If I throw on the manual switch, the high voltage switch on the right, and then talking to the balanced mic, the studio mic, have the D104 plugged in, then that doesn't work because the audio is still channeled through the D104. It'd be nice if the D104 would only work with the push to talk. So I think I got to rewire the base of the D10-4. But yeah, I'll think I'll move that over to the 6C4. I assume it would make sense for the audio to go to the grid on that tube, and then I guess the other lead goes to ground.
Just only because we're on the topic. No, not to the grid of the 6C4, to the cathode. Yeah, I would put it on the cathode, because there's a 2.2K resistor to ground, so that's relatively low impedance, and that will prevent the the rest of the audio from not getting bungled up. So DUH, good evening. Oh no, that's not right. That would mean your call sign is something duh. What did you say it was?
KC2DHU. Yeah, it's Jim here in Tompkins Cove, New York. I'm going to make sure this thing's working right. I haven't used it in a while. No, I jumped in here and I heard you guys talking about the El Valiente, and I was wondering if you're talking about putting line level audio into the Valiant, which is something I'd like to do with mine. So I was kind of listening with open ears, but I kind of jumped in here at the middle of the conversation. But I'm listening along anyhow and saying good evening to all. And yeah, Kevin, I'm hearing you quite well here in the Cove. KC2 Donut Hole University.
Yeah, let me see if I got it. I can't recall your name. I missed it. There was a static crash. But yeah, it's very easy to put line level audio in. All I did was to move the, they got that phono jack at the back with a phone patch, and it has a big long cable. Just take that off of wherever it goes to, and move it over to the last audio stage, which is the 6 Charlie 4. Clark instructed me, and I ignored. I left it on the top of the audio file, which also works, and then you can adjust the audio right from the front of the rig. But it's kind of silly because I've got the Shure mixer where I can adjust the audio there. And then I did something novel. I had an old a Sony graphic equalizer from my 1980s stereo, and I used that to adjust the audio level. So I come out of the Shure mixer into the equalizer, and then use a phono jack, line to connect up to that phone patch jack. So it's a cool thing. You don't have push to talk, but it does allow me to use this little balanced microphone. Okay, I'll send it over to Clark for his corrections and comments.
Well, I would do this. Get like a 4.7 or a 1 or a 2.2, just some electrolytic condenser, and put it between the cathode of the 6C4 and the center conductor of that coax. And that'll accomplish a couple of things. Number one, the audio quality will be much, much, much better because you're bypassing a lot of the low-level circuits. Number two, if you want to just use that, you can turn the mic gain all the way down and just use the push-to-talk switch on your D104 and to key up, and you won't hear that microphone, because the way it is right now, that volume control controls both of the sources of audio, and you know that's a problem because you've got both mics hot. But this way you're putting the audio in way past the audio control. So if you want to use the D104, you can do that, and it'll work totally normally. And by the way, and you don't have to unplug the Shure mixer. And if you want to use a Shure mixer, you turn the mic gain on the Valiant all the way down, and then you turn the mic gain on the Shure mixer up, and then you just use that. So it's very, very easy to jump between the two.
So, with the 2.2 electro, going to the cathode of the 6C4, are we essentially getting like a 600 ohm input there, or an 8 ohm input, or somewhere in between?
Well, you're going to, I think it was what, a 2.2K resistor, so you're probably going to need a bit of audio. You're probably going to need over 0 dB of drive. I know it's relative to impedance, but if you have enough audio, that's a great insert point because it'll give you very high fidelity. Well, higher. But what the capacitor does is it blocks the cathode voltage, which is very low, but still, just in the interest of keeping any DC off of whatever equipment you're plugging into the Valiant, the capacitor is there to do that. So that just keeps all the tube voltages with the way they should be. You probably hear that beeping in the background. That's that confounded beacon. So yeah, that's my recommendation. And run BCG.
Yeah, what's weird was it didn't do it for a while, and then all of a sudden just like that.
No, thank you, Clark and Kevin. Yeah, it was something I was thinking about doing with the Valiant here when I look into it again and fire it back on the air. And then I may actually do it with this Helicopter's HT20 once I find somebody that knows about it. Not doing something like that. I am on a D10-4 as usual here, because I'm in the house, not in the camper. And I use a D10-4 on the Valiant. But with the HT20, it didn't have push-to-talk, so I put push-to-talk into it. I just stomp on a pedal to key it. And I could probably do the same thing with a Valiant. Instead of the mic, a mic going into the mic jack, have another plug and just hook it to a pedal and stomp on it that way. Keying, it's not a problem. I have to give that a try. Thanks for the advice there. It was something I was thinking about doing, kind of a simple, dirty way to get a little more fidelity out of the Valiant. KC2DHU.
Alpha Julia. 1 Golf, AJ1G.
I heard a station in there and they catch the call sign. Jump on in. The water's fine.
Yeah, AJ1G. This time on AM. I was in lower sideband with carrier there. AJ1G. Good evening.
Use a dummy load. It works. AJ1G, give us your vitals.
Okay, I gotta see it.
Everything's nice and clean. Looking at the drains, they look great. Everything looks good, man. So we'll keep it this way.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to get want to get those boards, Doug's boards propagated and get that all set. So only got to run 1 watt out of here.
Yeah, it's a nice thing. It's you get the digital drive tuned up. You set up everything, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, Flexes are getting cheap. With Steve STH, so the guy was selling one Flex 5000A with the second receiver, automatic antenna tuner in it, the wheel, VFO wheel, and a bunch of other accessories, Firewire card and everything, for $950.
Yeah, how much were they new? I don't remember.
New? I don't know. I think they're like 14, 15, maybe more, maybe 16, something like that. But you can get a bare bones one, just a 5000A. Probably get them for like $900 now.
Yeah, it's just that if you look at in relation to the cost that they're trying to get for them now, for what they originally cost, they're still, it's not really a great deal. Like, you figure with the,